Welcome to Diamond Traffic's informational video featuring the all-new Omega G. Let's start by focusing on the faceplate so we know what is what. Starting in the upper left, you'll see the air switch or road tube activation indicators. Each one will activate when the Omega G detects an air pulse from a properly attached pneumatic road tube. Next is the LCD graphic display. This will allow you, the user, to view your interactions with the Omega G. The display will also indicate what aero functions are available to you. To the right of the display, we have the Enter and Cancel buttons. The Enter button will select a menu option, or it can be used to step forward through that menu. The Cancel button will be used to cancel an operation or to take a step backward in the menu. On the far right, we have the 11-key alphanumeric keypad. You can use this for data entry, such as your site ID. You can type in numeric characters simply by touching the appropriate button. Below the keypad is the Alt key. Alpha characters are entered by holding the Alt key and tapping the number corresponding to the desired printed letter. Below the Enter key, we have the arrows. You can use these to navigate through the display menus. To the left of the arrows, we have the USB ports. The left USB port is used to connect to a computer and our Centurion software through a standard USB cable. The USB port on the right is for inserting a USB thumb drive used for data retrieval. Finally, in the lower left corner, we have the USB button. The USB button is used to start the file copy process to the inserted thumb drive. The Omega G does not have a power switch. It is always on. To activate the display, simply press any key on the keypad. The only key that will not activate the display is the Alt key. For our example, we will use the down arrow. This takes us to the main menu where your choices are Start Recording. This option will change to Stop Recording when the Omega G is actively recording data. Settings, Show Status, Diagnostics, Files. By using the right arrow key twice, then the down arrow or Enter one time, and let's take a quick look through the settings menu. Here we will see Clock, Display, USB Reset, Bluetooth, Factory Reset, About, Main Menu Access. Let's arrow right once in order to return to the clock menu and press Enter. The clock menu allows for manually adjusting the date and time if needed. Keep in mind we use the 24-hour clock format. Here you can use the keypad or up and down arrows to enter the correct information. Press the left arrow to begin and you'll notice the dark background in the hour block. Manually enter the correct hour or use the arrows to increment up or down. Right arrow or Enter key will move forward through each step of the process. The left arrow key will move back one step if needed. Changing the time zone is just as easy using the up or down arrows. When finished, press the right arrow or Enter key to be returned to the settings menu. Arrow right once to the display setting and press Enter. Here we can set or configure how the display will function. To keep the current settings, press Enter. To change them, press the left arrow key. The first item is the backlight timeout value. This setting will impact your battery life. You can increase or decrease the amount of time the backlight stays active by using the up or down arrows. Pressing the right arrow or Enter key will advance to the display timeout value. or how soon the display goes to sleep. Again, using the up or down arrows to change the value, followed by the right arrow or enter button to accept those changes. Once you've confirmed these settings are to your liking, press enter twice to exit the menu. Press right arrow once and enter, and next is the USB reset function. Pressing enter presents the option to perform the reset. Activating this will cause the Omega G to reset the USB subsystem for both USB ports. If activated, you will be returned to the menu. Arrow right once, press enter, and the Bluetooth setting is next. Here you will be able to specify when the Bluetooth radio is to be active. It is not recommended to use the always on option, as this will have a serious impact on battery life. When you've made your selection, press enter. This returns you to the main menu. Pressing the right arrow takes us to the factory reset option. Pressing enter presents the option to perform the reset. Activating this option will cause the Omega G to reset the unit to factory default settings. After the reset has been completed, you will be given the option to erase collected data. If you have not verified all data has been downloaded, select No. If you don't need the data, or if you've already downloaded all of the data files, press Yes and press Enter. Remember, there is no recovery process available to retrieve deleted files, so use this feature with caution. In this example, we press No and press Enter. This returns us to the menu, and the About screen is next. Press right arrow and Enter. Here you can see the various firmware versions present in the Omega G. Due to the factory reset we just did, some of these entries will be 0. We can populate them by completing a power on reset. Press and hold the Alt button and tap the Cancel button. When finished, the Omega G will return you to the main menu and Start Recording option. From here, we can navigate back to the About screen to see all the firmware version numbers. Press the up arrow twice to return to the main menu. Press arrow over to show status, and press Enter. Here we can see the following: System Status, Files, Data Study, Main Menu Access. Right arrow to System Status and press Enter. Based on how much traffic has been recorded, System Status will show how much memory is currently being used, along with an estimated number of days remaining in order to fill up the memory. Pressing the down arrow will display the current temperature, both in Celsius and Fahrenheit. Down arrow again shows you the current battery voltage. The Omega G can display the internal battery voltage down to 2 decimal places. Down arrow returns us to the status menu. Right arrow and Enter moves us to Files. Here we can see a summary of the number of files currently stored on the Omega G, how much space those files occupy, and if the Omega G is actively recording data or is in standby mode. You may access the list of files in memory by pressing List or down arrow. If you are in standby mode, you will have the option to press Erase left arrow. You will then be prompted to erase the entire memory, and there is no way to retrieve those deleted files. Remember that you cannot erase files while recording. We decline to erase files, pressed Enter at No, and return to the menu. Right arrow once and press Enter to access Data Study. This shows you current study details, including the site name, start date and time, size of the current file, and the duration of this study. Press Next, down arrow, and the next screen shows you the grand total of vehicles. This will include a breakout between the number of cars and trucks recorded. It will also show you the ADT, or average daily traffic numbers, provided your study is longer than 2 days in length. Press Next, down arrow, and the next screen will show you the average speed, peak volume, peak time, and class percentages recorded during this study. Note that the data file can contain a summary of these values and more in a file footer. Returning to the main menu, Diagnostics is next. Here we can select the type of details that are displayed as vehicles cross any connected road tube. We will activate our calibrator to simulate live vehicle traffic. We can now select and view sensor, vehicle, or volume counts using the arrow keys to scroll through the choices. Pressing the down or enter buttons returns us to the previous menu. The last entry on the menu is Files. This is the same information that we can see from the Show Status and Files menu. From Files, press the right arrow and Enter in order to walk through the steps needed to start recording a data study. The first question is the axle collection mode, and for most studies, normal OC mode will work. Normal OC is a basic axle collection mode or an external open collector inputs. Enhanced mode adds an analog to digital conversion process to detect axle activations. All Mixed adds enhanced processing and will tag each activation as either a bicycle or a vehicle. Vehicles Only is the same as All Mixed, but it will only display vehicles while recording each activation. Bicycles Only is the same as All Mixed, but it will only display bicycles while recording each activation. For this example, navigate to Normal OC and press Enter. Now it's time to enter a site ID. This depends upon your file naming convention. Any alphanumeric combination may be entered using the keypad. Press Enter when completed, and the next screen shows GPS location. The Omega G will automatically scan the skies for satellites, showing progress via a series of dots. When satellites are located and signals locked onto, the Omega G will indicate the number of satellites found. You can then see the current GPS location details become finer as the Omega G locks onto more satellites. If GPS coordinates are displayed, the date and time will also be updated. This will depend upon your physical location and access to clear skies. You can skip this step by pressing Cancel. Due to time constraints and the fact that we are inside our offices, we are skipping this step. If you skip the GPS step, you must ensure that both date and time are correct. Pressing Enter allows you to pre-select the road tube layout that you plan on using for your collection. Be advised that there are different preset layouts available for collecting volume or per vehicle records, which can then be used to create classification studies. To change from volume to vehicle and back, press the 0 key. Press the arrow keys to cycle through the various layouts and Enter to select. Remember that the road tube layout on the surface needs to match the selection on the Omega G. Next, you can verify vehicle traffic after connecting the road tube to the Omega G. Here, we will use our calibrator again. If you agree with the information displayed as compared to the live vehicle traffic you are observing, press Enter. If you disagree with the information displayed, check your tubes and spacing between tube pairs for per vehicle data, keeping in mind that the G defaults to 4-foot spacing. For volume studies, that default is 1 foot. Also, make sure you check the road tube strike sequence, ensuring that it is correct. All of these will have an impact on the on-the-fly details shown on your display. Once you have corrected any issues, press Enter to start data collection. The screen will change, showing Setup Complete, and prompt you to either start or abort the data study. You will now notice that View Traffic has replaced Start Recording, and Stop Recording is now available. The View Traffic menu item displays the same information as seen in Diagnostics. In order to put your display to sleep, press the Cancel button until the screen goes blank. To stop data collection, press any key except Alt to activate the display and use the arrows to navigate over to Stop Recording and press Enter. To confirm the stoppage of data collection, press the left arrow. A confirmation message along with the file number will be displayed. To view study summary details, press the down arrow. Here you will see the site ID, start and stopping dates and times, and the size of the file. The next screen will show you the grand total, along with the total number of cars, total number of trucks, and ADT if the study was longer than 2 days. The information will also display when the file is imported using the Centurion software. Down arrow will then show average speed, peak volume, peak time, and class percentage. The recorded data can now be retrieved using either a USB thumb drive or by connecting the Omega G to a computer and linking to it with Centurion. To retrieve a copy of the study with a thumb drive, we will insert the drive into the Omega G and press the USB button. This concludes our presentation of the Omega G. If you liked this video, please subscribe and give us a thumbs up. Comments are welcome. Please keep them constructive and on topic.